Good morning, everybody. We'll just wait for everybody to enter the presentation and the webinar. Logged in. We'll just give a few minutes to make sure that everybody has entered the webinar before we begin. Thanks. Those who have just logged in, we'll just wait another minute or two before we begin with the presentation. Just ensure that everybody's logged in to the webinar. Thanks. And I'll be presenting a presentation on financing your education for specifically U.S. students. The presentation should be about 30 to 40 minutes, and so we'll have some time at the end for some questions. If you do have any questions, you're welcome to place it in the Q&A chat, and then we'll take a look at them at the end of the presentation. For the person who's asking if they should be looking at a black screen, hopefully you can see me now. There you are. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, once again, if you have any questions, feel free to add them in. I will get to them. So it's not overly pressing or anything like that. But yeah, we'll get started here. All right, so scholarships and student aid. So financing your education, specifically geared towards US students. To begin, we'll start with the land acknowledgement. And so McGill University is on land, which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst Indigenous peoples, including the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples or nations. We acknowledge and thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose presence marks this territory on which peoples of the world now gather. And so the Scholarship and Student Aid is a proud member of Student Services, and together we support students in every aspect of their wellness. Although we are very different in our speciality from our specialty, from spirituality to health, we are united in our mission of student wellness, as well as helping students reach their full potential with a focus on self-development. And so this is how we represent holistic wellness. Each component is like a spoke in a wellness wheel. If one area is neglected, one's experience may be stressful, tiring, difficult, and/or challenging. Much like trying to drive or even bike with a loose spoke, the tire starts to wobble or wiggle a lot, so it becomes more and more difficult to do so. Or another example would be to drive a vehicle with a flat tire. It just makes things a lot more difficult. And so if anything is off balance, health and wellness may be compromised. So taking care of your wellness, whatever that means to you, will allow you to flourish while attending McGill. So for students who wish to leverage support in the areas of study skills, career planning, intercultural appreciation, finances, health, managing stress, or taking on a leadership role on campus, or etc., we in Student Services strive to address them. Together, we offer everything from community building and large-scale events like orientation, group workshops, and one-on-one specialized, personalized, and confidential services. And so we administer financial support programs that are based on merit-based and need-based aid for eligible students studying at McGill. And so we're going to take a look at that in more depth right away. So our services and programs. So here's a snapshot of the services and programs that we offer, and I'll be going through into more detail as we move through today's presentation. Our goal is to support students throughout their entire academic journey, whether they're just starting at McGill or well into their degree. Our merit-based entrance scholarship program is based on academic excellence for high school and cégep students. Those are students attending different colleges in Quebec, which are entering a full-time undergraduate degree program. Our entrance bursary program is based on financial need and is meant to help students from low to modest income families who may not otherwise be able to accept their offer of admission. Our in-course financial aid program helps current full-time degree students facing financial challenges. Our work-study program offers students with financial need access to on-campus or McGill-affiliated employment opportunities. Government aid administration and assistance. So we provide assistance with government aid administration. There's emergency loans, which are short-term assistance for urgent, unexpected financial situations. Fee deferrals, which allow eligible students more time to pay tuition or fees when needed, as well as our Frugal Scholar program, which is our financial literacy program, helping students build budgeting and money management skills. We also offer other special funding opportunities and information targeted to specific student needs. And so very few would argue that the cost of a McGill degree is anything other than an excellent investment. It opens doors around the world, leads to stronger job prospects, and is associated with higher future earnings. However, that said, it is still a significant cost, and it's one that requires thoughtful planning. At McGill, our philosophy, which is pretty common across North America, is that the 4 pillars of financial support make it possible for a student to pursue an undergraduate degree for the first time. So here are the 4 pillars. The first pillar is the expected contribution from parents or guardians relative to their financial capacity. The second pillar is the student's own contribution, whether through part-time work, summer earnings, or funds they receive through scholarships or other awards with monetary value. The third pillar is government aid. Every Canadian province and territory offers student financial assistance programs, and we consider Indigenous band funding as equivalent to government aid within this framework, as well as there's the U.S. Direct Loan Program, which we'll get to later. Finally, the fourth pillar is McGill's own contribution. So some of our programs are merit-based, recognizing exceptional academic performance. However, most are need-based. This means that once a student's resources are assessed and their expenses are at an appropriate level, McGill provides financial aid packages in the form of bursaries, or another word, grants, and in some cases, loans, to help cover unmet need. It's important to note that we don't replace expected resources, we supplement them. With that foundation in mind, let's look at the opportunities and services offered by our office to help strengthen each of these pillars for our students. So our main programs for newly admitted undergraduate students are comprised of the Entrance Scholarship and Entrance Bursary programs. Let me begin by explaining the difference between the two. Scholarships are based on merit or excellence in academic performance, while bursaries, or again grants, on the other hand, are based on financial need. The Entrance Scholarship application deadline for applicants from schools outside of Canada was on January 21st. So unfortunately, for those who have not applied to the major scholarship program, you will not be able to apply for those as of this date, or as of January 21st. However, for the 1-year entrance scholarship, everybody's considered for it, so you do not need to apply for that. And so if they are eligible, they should get a 1-year scholarship offer within a few days of their admission offer. If they, right. And then we'll talk more into detail with regards to the entrance bursary in the next slide. So the entrance bursary is only for incoming undergraduate students, but also for medicine and law students. Students would apply for the entrance bursary in Minerva. You will also be prompted to add some details about your financial situation. As mentioned, there is an expectation that the student will apply for government aid and will accept the maximum offered. We strongly recommend applying within 30 days from the date of formal acceptance to the university, as funding for this program is limited and offered on a rolling basis until resources are exhausted. The application officially closes on June 30th. Should you require aid in subsequent years, students or you would then apply through the in-course financial aid program, which we'll talk about in a bit. And so for the entrance bursary program, which again is a need-based one, there's 2 components to it. One is, as mentioned, the application through Minerva, but you should begin first with the CSS profile. The CSS profile, it differs from maybe domestic schools. The CSS profile here at McGill is solely used for the entrance bursary program, nothing else. And so by going to, if you were to Google or look up CSS profile, you'll then be able to find the College Board website and apply and submit your CSS profile. Make sure to complete it fully and to enter McGill's school code so that we have access to it, so that we can actually assess your application. Once your CSS profile is complete, then you can go into Minerva, you can log in, you can go to the Financial Aid and Awards tab, go to the Financial Aid menu, and apply for McGill Entrance Bursary. Within your CSS profile, you will have a code, which is called the CB FinAid ID, and that you can then enter in your application in Minerva. So those are the two components needed for the Entrance Bursary program. Award decisions begin in March or even earlier and continue on a rolling basis, which generally takes 2 to 3 weeks from the date of application submission and or documentation receipt. So if we don't have access to your CSS profile, it may take longer for us then to assess it, as we cannot assess it until we have all information needed. Decisions are posted on the Financial Aid and Awards tab in Minerva and are followed by a formal letter. The bursaries are offered in Canadian currency and evenly dispersed to your fall and winter fees. And awardees are encouraged to pay special attention to their letter, as it contains important information about the award. So those are the two main programs or entrance programs that we had, the Entrance Scholarship and the Entrance Bursary. Now let's look specifically at government aid. So there's the American Direct Loan Program, or U.S. federal loans. Because we're a foreign institution, we can only offer U.S. direct loans as well as U.S. Parent Plus loans. And so we can see here, McGill is a Title IV institution. We offer subsidized, unsubsidized, as well as Parent Plus loans. If we have any professional or graduate students, what you may see is that there's a lack of Grad Plus loans. As of last year, as the One Big Beautiful Bill was put in place, the Grad Plus loan has been removed for the 26-27 year and onward. And so there are several steps to take to complete the application. You have to submit the FAFSA, the Master Promissory Note, the entrance counseling, as well as the application in Minerva. If ever you have any questions or are unsure as to or encounter any issues, you're always welcome to email us.studentaid@mcgill.ca. It's a designated resource account for inquiries with regards to the U.S. Direct Loan Program. Students can apply for U.S. loans throughout the year. However, we do recommend that all these steps are completed by June 1st, just to ensure that all loan packaging can be done before the first fee deadline, which is usually at the end of August. And so, as mentioned, there's 4 parts to it. One of the parts is applying or submitting the application in Minerva. So we have the steps here. So once again, we have that Financial Aid and Awards tab. We would go to the Financial Aid menu. And if you scroll down, you'll see the Apply for U.S. Direct Loans. Within it, you'll then add your Social Security number and answer a few questions as to which loans you'd like to apply for. Next up, there's the portions that would be submitted or completed on the studentaid.gov website. So one would be your FAFSA. You can then complete your FAFSA for the 26-27 year. And then in the following tab, under Grants and Loans, you'll then see that we have the Master Promissory Note as well as the Loan Entrance Counseling. So those 3, in addition to the Minerva application, are needed to complete the applications for subsidized and unsubsidized loans. If ever you're interested in applying for Parent Plus loans, you're welcome again. There's a few extra steps. You can always email me or email the us.studentaid@mcgill.ca website or email address, or even go on our website for more information. Our office administers 14 jurisdictions in total. So there's 13 Canadian programs plus the U.S. Direct Loan Program. Altogether, that's more than $80 million each year in government grants and loans. In Canada, financial aid is a provincial responsibility. Each province has its own rules, levels of support, and processes. Some are integrated with the federal program, others are not. For most first-degree students, governments consider them dependent on parental resources, so parents must take part in the application. Parental income affects both eligibility and the mix of grants and loans, and your province of residence matters more than where you study. Across all these programs, about 1/3 of full-time undergraduates who can access government aid actually use it. Our team helps Canadian students, or those with dual citizenship, understand their eligibility, determine the correct jurisdiction, navigate appeals, gather documentation, and get recognized for special circumstances. We also confirm enrollment, help students secure interest-free status on previous loans, and offer guidance on repayment. So if you are a dual citizen, US and Canada, please ensure that you contact Service Point or enrollment services so that they are aware of that, as it may help to change your fee residency status. Once you are a student, we have merit-based, which are in-course scholarships that are managed by the faculty. So for example, if you are in arts, you would apply directly to the faculty, or you may be considered automatically based on your academic performance in your first completed year of study. As for need-based financial aid, students are encouraged to apply for our in-course financial aid program, which opens on August 1st for the academic year beginning in September. I'll go into more detail on the next slide. Our in-course financial aid program is designed to help current full-time degree students facing financial challenges. The program supplements existing financial resources, including government aid and/or Indigenous band support funding, part-time work, parental support, and/or other sources of funding. Appointments with financial aid counselors are offered in person or virtually. And so it's really important that when students do apply, students must be registered in a degree program and be considered full-time, in satisfactory academic standing, apply for and accept maximum government aid, if available, as well as demonstrate financial need. Special targeted funding designed to assist with special costs outside of the normal cost of attendance or to remove any additional barriers a student may face to be able to take advantage of the full McGill experience. So these programs consist of the two following. We have our Mobility Bursary for Exchanges program, which provides need-based financial support to students participating in official academic exchanges. Eligible students may receive between $4,000 and $10,000 Canadian per semester of exchange. Additionally, we have our EEO bursary program, which is designed to support eligible students with the costs of enriched educational opportunities that might otherwise be out of reach. Examples of this would be field studies, internships or research opportunities, certain music competitions for music students only, summer French immersion programs, which is coordinated by the International Student Services Department. Scholarships and Student Aid has worked directly with students for students to create the Frugal Scholar program, a comprehensive financial literacy program designed to help students budget effectively and graduate with manageable debt. No matter how a student funds their degree, everyone needs a good financial habit. We offer one-on-one counseling on budgeting and debt management. We also have an online toolkit, budget template, and a workshop series. No matter a student's financial situation, knowledge is power. A plan greatly reduces financial stress. This might seem so simple and obvious, but budgeting skills takes practice to become good habits. You can always find more information on our website, which is at www.mcgill.ca/student aid. Short videos are also available on our website covering different topics like paying for your undergraduate degree, need-based funding for undergraduate students, budgeting to reduce financial stress, among others. And you can always contact us. There's our downtown campus, which is where we're located now, which is at the Brown Student Services Building, as well as the McDonald campus. You can see the number there for the general, as well as the different numbers for the appointments. Good. Thank you very much, and I'll look to see if there's any questions. All right. So the first question is, does the entrance bursary apply for 4 years of undergrad? If not, are there any other need-based options for the next 3 years? So great question. So as a perspective, or as an incoming student, you would apply for the entrance bursary. And then for all subsequent years after that, it would be the in-course financial aid program. Next question is with regards to the entrance scholarship program. And so if a student is eligible, they should hear within a few days with regards to the one-year scholarship. If they applied for the major scholarship, you should hear back within 3 weeks. And if you haven't yet, if it's been 3 weeks and you haven't heard anything yet, I would just recommend just being patient. There's a lot of applications coming in, and so it does take time to go through everything. So just keep checking the status of your application just to see if anything's changed. The next question is, how do entrance scholarships and government assistance look for international students? For instance, look for international students matching their higher tuitions. Also, we applied for entrance scholarship when we should. Okay. How do entrance scholarships and government assistance look for international students? I'm not sure if I fully understand. With regards to US federal programs or loan programs, they have set amounts for each consideration of like if you're a freshman versus a senior, as well as starting for 26-27 with regards to Parent Plus loans, parents can request up to $20,000 per academic year to assist their student. With regards to entrance scholarships, the amounts that were chosen are on our website. I think there's a few that are 3,000 or 6,000 and 9,000 every year. Again, there is more information on our website with regards to the amounts. There's a comment, especially those, please include information about US students that have dual citizenship. Okay, especially those that have never lived in Canada and can't set up residency once they move here. Okay, so for this question, I'll write a comment to your question, but this would be a question to ask enrollment services and or Service Point. And so if you were to look up those on the McGill website, then you can then contact them to have more information as to what documentation is needed to be provided so that you can have a different status. And then we'll go up. The next question is, can one expect a similar amount of in-course financial aid compared to the entrance bursary? That's another all great questions so far, and one that we get quite often, actually. What we say is that if everything stays the same, if your financial situation stays the same, as well as our, because a lot of the the funding that we get are donations. So if everything stays the same on our side as well as your side, students can expect to receive a similar amount as their entrance bursary in subsequent years. Again, it's not always guaranteed, but based off of many factors, if everything stays the same, yes, students can expect a similar amount. Next question is, how do I indicate on my application? Oh, and just to come back to that last question, please just ensure that when you are applying for in-course financial aid, as mentioned earlier, one of the requirements is that students are on government aid. So please make sure that you are applying for and accepting the maximum amount of government aid available. The next question is, how do I indicate on my application that I was born in Quebec? That wouldn't be our office. I would also recommend contacting the enrollment services or service point for more information on that so that they can better guide you. Next question is, if our student qualifies for situation 8C, she would pay the Quebec tuition rate. Could you please go over steps 3 and 4? So as this has more to do with enrollment services, I wouldn't be the best resource to answering that. So I would contact enrollment services or service point for more information on that. Is there a process for special circumstances, such as death in the family? Death in the family has our finances out of whack, income low, savings, life insurance high. Okay, so if you are an incoming student and you do have these special circumstances, and I'm very sorry to hear about the death in the family, within both the application in Minerva and in the CSS profile, there's a special circumstances box where you may enter information so that when our financial aid counselors do perform the assessment, they'll at least have that information on hand as well. And the next question is, if US-Canada dual citizen missed the entrance scholarship deadline, are there other merit scholarship applications still available? As an incoming student, no, those were the only 2 entrance scholarship programs, which is the 1 year, which is you don't need to apply for, everybody's considered, and the major. For any future scholarship, merit scholarship programs, contact your faculty to see what opportunities could be available to you for your first year or for any subsequent years after that. Yeah, you're welcome. For the next comment is, hi, thank you for this presentation. You're very welcome. I just got accepted into Des Hôtels about a week ago, which is past the deadline. Can I still apply for the entrance scholarship? Unfortunately, no, as the deadline was on January 21st. So yeah, unfortunately not. The next question is, I got to the webinar a little late and missed the first part about the merit scholarships. When is the deadline for that? And so as an international student or those attending schools outside of Canada, the deadline for the major scholarship was January 21st. So if you haven't applied for it yet, unfortunately, it is too late. The next comment is, or question is, if you missed applying for entrance scholarships, will they be able to apply the following year? So for entrance scholarships, no, it's only for that first incoming year that you can apply for it. With the exception of if you eventually go into law or med afterwards. For example, if you're doing arts first and then into something else, like law or med. However, there are potentially more opportunities, scholarship opportunities, but again, please contact your faculty for more information regarding that. So the next question is, what about US students that have never lived in Canada but have dual citizenship? I understand that residence can be set up in 3 months. How do we determine what the costs are and what funding is available for the fall term, and then after residence status is achieved? With regards to residency status, again, I would recommend contacting Enrollment Services or Service Point, as they'll have more information for you. Once you do have, when you do have a different status, be it Canadian or Quebec, and are interested in government programs, like government financial aid programs, please then contact our office, and then we can provide as much assistance as possible to guide you in the right direction so that you can apply for government aid from a Canadian province. So the next question is, for the one that we are automatically considered for, how do we learn how much we received? And so the amount is a non-renewable $3,000, 3,000 Canadian dollars. You should know within a few days of your acceptance to McGill. And so if you have not heard anything, it may be that you were not considered for it. But yeah, there's no variance in the amounts. It's just $3,000. When can we expect to receive a financial letter with official cost? And so this is where Canadian schools do differ a bit from US schools. From what I understand, domestic schools in US do provide a letter stating what you're eligible for with information from your FAFSA, as well as how much you need to pay and how much everything costs. It is a bit different here, and the information isn't necessarily sent to you via email or by a letter. It is found on the website. And it's not necessarily estimates, but it's providing information based off of a student enrolled for 30 credits. So 15 credits for the fall term and 15 credits on the winter term. They are in Canadian dollars, not in US dollars when you go on our website. So just keep that in mind when you go through that. The next question is the process of applying for in-course aid similar to entrance bursary? Yes, it's very similar. For the entrance bursary, in Minerva, you would apply for entrance bursary, and you would submit the CSS profile. For the in-course financial aid program, you would submit an application for the in-course financial aid, and that's it. No CSS profile needed for the in-course financial aid program. So if you missed the deadline because you weren't accepted yet, can you still apply for financial aid? Is it the only way to lower the cost? So if you've been accepted, if you've been accepted to McGill, and you haven't accepted the offer yet, you can apply for the entrance bursary program. The deadline is June 30th, or they say 30 days after you've been accepted. But still apply. I believe you should still be able to apply even though it's been 30 days. We just recommend that students do so that, again, because it is a program that is on an ongoing basis. And the last question is it the only way to lower the cost? I'm not entirely sure I understand the question, but as mentioned in the presentation, the 4 pillars, taking into account familial resources, personal resources, and then government aid, and then the McGill programs, there are various options available to you to help lower the cost. The major scholarship was mentioned. Sorry, has that deadline passed as well? Yes, so for students attending high schools outside of Canada, the deadline was January 21st. And so the deadline unfortunately has passed. And that was the last question. I'll just give it a few more minutes to see if anybody else has any more questions. Otherwise, then after that, we'll end the meeting or the webinar. So the next question is, when will we find out what our bill is for the first year? And is it dependent on the program? That's a very good question, and I would double check with Service Point. But generally, first bill is sent out end of July, early August, with a due date at the end of August. And is it dependent on the program? I believe so, yes. Different programs may have a higher cost than others. So the next question is, can we book a one-on-one session with a financial advisor at McGill? Absolutely. If you are wanting to book an appointment or, sorry, I'm just blanking on the words. If you're wanting to have like a one-on-one counseling on budgeting and debt management and things like that, you would have to submit an in-course financial aid application through Minerva, and in the special circumstances box, just enter that you are looking specifically for information on this or assistance with this so that they are aware of what type of meeting is needed. The next question is, will there be a link with all the screenshots? That's a very good question, and one that I'm not entirely sure of. I will ask, and I will get back to you a bit, maybe a bit later. But at this time, I would just say possibly not, but please look at our website, especially ours particularly, like the scholarships and student aid, as all this information is on our website. And there's even more information on there that could be useful to you as well. The next question is, I missed the beginning. How do we get a recording of this presentation? That's another good question. So I will get back to you regarding that as well. The next question is, the Des Hôtels program is significantly more than arts. Does this take into account when considering aid? Maybe you just answer that. Yes, absolutely. So if you are applying for the entrance bursary program or for the in-course financial aid program, we do take into account those pieces of information. The next question is, thank you for the presentation. You're welcome. So I think many of us have questions about dual citizenship and what happens if one comes to McGill. I went to enrollment services and Service Point and cannot find any relevant info about this. Is there a particular person or office to discuss this? Could you post it in the chat? Yeah, I can. Give me one moment. I will post it as a comment to your question. This has the information regarding legal documents, which is with regards to enrollment services. So this is how to be considered a Quebec resident if you fall within any of those situations. Again, for more information though, please contact enrollment services directly or Service Point. They might be able to provide you more information via email or on the phone with regards to that. Next question is, if the admission letter has been accepted and confirmed, can I still apply for financial aid? Absolutely. Or is it too late? Yeah, absolutely. If you have been accepted and you've confirmed the acceptance, you can definitely still apply for the entrance bursary program. Please review our website and you'll find all the steps there. Just make sure that you submit the application through Minerva as well as the CSS profile. The next question is, will there be a recording available of this presentation? As mentioned earlier, I'll get back to you about that as I've checked in with a colleague of mine. I'm just waiting for them to reply. The next question is Service Point the same as enrollment services? Could you please put contact phone numbers for both? Um, so Service Point is kind of the face, I would say. It covers several departments um, and is, oops, sorry. It covers several departments, but I wouldn't say they're exactly the same. It's more like you would contact Service Point to have more information regarding enrollment services, but I believe enrollment services has their own email address. However, I would recommend contacting Service Point regarding this to have more information, and then they can provide you more information regarding contacting enrollment services if it's needed. The next question is, can international students, so Indian citizenship, but went to school in the US, apply for bursaries? Also, because we have higher tuitions, around 60,000 Canadian, including cost of living, will that be considered for the financial bursaries and major entrance scholarships? So first question is, can international students, Indian citizenship, apply for bursaries? Um, Absolutely. So everybody, any incoming students can apply for the entrance bursary program. Again, just making sure that you submit both documents, the CSS profile, as well as the application in Minerva. Otherwise, it might just delay the assessment of your application. With regards to whether those higher tuitions and cost of living are considered for financial bursaries, yes, they are taken into account. For the major entrance scholarships, the amounts, well, it is a merit-based award, and the amounts that are provided are written on our website. And so I'm not sure whether those informations are taken into account, as the major entrance scholarship program does have their own criteria. I just don't know them off the top of my head right now. Again, I think you can see that on our website with regards to the criteria. So just waiting for my colleague to get back to me with regards to the recording. Huh. Um, yes, so there's a question. I don't believe you're seeing my message. Can you provide information in work-study program for international students? Of course. So students who are provided an entrance bursary are automatically admitted to the work-study program. The work-study program is a need-based program. And so for those who do receive an entrance bursary and are considered international students, can go forward with the work-study program, which involves a few steps, which again can be seen on our website. If students have not applied for the entrance bursary program or were not provided an entrance bursary, and come to McGill and so on, those students would then be able to attend or apply for the work-study program in their second year. Just keep in mind that because it is a need-based program as well, students do need to apply and accept maximum government aid prior to apply. Next question is, how will we know the total amount due in order to apply for loans if they do not release financial aid letters? Um, so the information with regards to costs are most likely better asked to student accounts. That would be the department responsible for that. There is information on their website or on the McGill website. I'll see if I can actually find that information and post it in here. When applying for loans, and again, just for this link that I've posted, it is in Canadian dollars. Please keep that in mind. When it comes to applying for US federal loans, be they subsidized, unsubsidized, or Parent Plus loans, once they're packaged, the student can either accept or refuse or decline the loan offer. And so you can apply for everything and have it all done. And once you know how much you owe, sometime in August, then you can decide to either accept or decline those loans, just whether it's necessary or not. So question is, okay. So again, a student who lives in US but is a Canadian citizen, the entrance major scholarship deadline was in Jan. Yeah, please double check that link that was provided. It'll have more information as to regarding that. The next question is, when you say maximum government aid, does that mean both grants and loans? Yes. And so, for example, more specifically to US students, maximum government aid in this case would be considered the maximum amount of subsidized and unsubsidized loans. And next question is, what exactly do you mean by apply for maximum aid to apply for work study? So exactly that, more specifically to US students, subsidized and unsubsidized loans, the maximum amount. Next question is, so as someone that has just been accepted, therefore passed all deadlines, is financial aid need-based the only option I have to help me pay the yearly tuitions? Well, for your first year, your incoming first year, yes, you can still apply for the entrance bursary. And I believe with regards to the programs that our office offers, yes, that would be the only one that you can apply for at this time. For subsequent years, check in with your faculty to see whether there's any programs you can apply to, as well as the in-course financial aid program from our office for, again, subsequent years. The next question is, international services explained to us that our student is not considered international because although she lives in US and is dual citizen, she's a Canadian citizen. She is not considered international student. Does that change her deadline for entrance major scholarship applications? Could you explain what title fits students in this situation? Seems most websites split students into international or Canadian. Which are dual citizens considered? It's a very good question. It's a very good question. One that I don't know off the top of my head at this time. I'll write down an email, our main email address, so that you can send that email so that we can take a look into it and answer you with a more full response. Next question is, it sounds like you find out how much the total cost will be in August. Is that correct? Your bill will be provided in end of July or early August by student accounts. You can gain an estimate as to how much you'll be owing via our website. But yes, otherwise, that is correct. So just with regards to access to the recording, we're still waiting to hear back from Enrollment Services. My colleague isn't sure if they plan to post the recording after the webinar, but as soon as we know, well, she'll let me know, but I'll just ask with regards to you guys. Okay, so we just have a few more minutes here. If there are any last minute questions, please raise them up now. If not, just maybe before too many people leave. Just want to thank everybody for attending today, and I hope your questions were answered or at least directed to the appropriate people for more information. And with regards to recording, unfortunately, I don't have any information at this time, but hopefully it will become available to you or be known to you in the next few days. All right. So if there aren't any more questions, we'll end it here. Thank you again. Hope you all have a great day and hope to see you in the fall. Have a great day. Bye.